that as well. Well, Jacob, you had a great topic that you wanted to hit on tonight. You said top 5 Packers who need to perform in preseason. And again, like I said at the top of the hour, whether they need to perform or maybe it could be top 5 players that you're looking forward to seeing. I like Jacob's approach. So, Jacob, if you want to kind of start this conversation, and we'll talk about some of the players that probably need to. I've got access to the depth chart, right, both offense and defense, and we've also got PFF grades from last year. If you need me to pull either of those up, just let me know.
Yeah, so when I started it, I thought it'd be really easy. I ended up going with – I thought I'd have 5 individual players that I was worried about. And then it kind of shifted towards, I've got 9 at least situations / player groups where I want to see how they're going to play out. So I don't have to list all 9, but I just wondered kind of what you guys would think. I could rapid fire them off and then see if you want to go in.
Let's go one at a time.
All right. The first one to me is the running back room in general with the mix of Wilson, Brooks, and Lloyd. Just how that's going to – these freaking streamers, man. How that's going to pan out. Obviously, with the injury to Lloyd, we kind of figured that one's going to be put on ice. Wilson has a slight injury, but probably is going to be able to come and do some playing time. And then Chris Brooks, just whether or not he's going to solidify being that third and final running back or if he's going to fall into the practice squad kind of thing. To me, I don't really quite know how it's going to shake out, and I am starting to get a little nervous, mainly for Marshawn Lloyd, because I just feel like the guy can't catch a break. And the more and more we see of Wilson and Brooks, the more I just feel like that Coach LaFleur is going to say, look, I know what I got in these guys, and it's quite good. We've highlighted, as you're showing here, Emmanuel Wilson may be one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated backup for sure in the league, I think. What are your thoughts on the running back room?
Yeah, it's interesting because is Marshawn Lloyd actually healthy? Is he going to be willing? He's not going to be able to play, right? Am I thinking right?
I think he's playing this game.
Yeah. So, listen, he's not battling for a roster spot, too. So, really, what it's going to come down to is Chris Brooks, Izzy, Amar Johnson. Those are the 3 that I'd be really trying to go. Okay, are there one of these 3 that's worth carrying as a 4th running back? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. And it's going to come down to a little bit of that, that pass blocking too. How quickly can Izzy pick up the pass blocking and know exactly where to be? And it's not like LaFleur is going to go out there and roll his whole offense out there either. You probably want to put these guys in a couple of situations where look at it this way: get Sean Clifford and Taylor Elgersmer out there with significant reps to decide who's going to be your practice squad quarterback, and in the process, rotate these running backs in to see how well they can pass pro. Does that make sense, Emilio?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we have to, because you're going to have different combinations with, quarterbacks and running backs on the field, but you want to see if each of them can do that. I know Josh Jacobs was kind of talking about how Chris Brooks can do it all. He's kind of that utility knife back there. So I think it really is going to be the big 3 is going to be Israel, Lamar, and Jalen. I think they're going to get a lot of carries. I think it's going to be, a lot of back and forth with them just to see what we have, because you got to build out that practice squad. What's a 16-man practice squad? So you have a big roster. You got to make sure you're building out and having backups ready to go.
And we know running backs get banged up really, really quick throughout the NFL. Coach Lynn says, can Izzy beat out Brooks? Probably not. What do you think, Jacob, of those 3 running backs, Chris Brooks, Izzy, or Amar Johnson? Who would you say, yeah, I'd put my money on that guy to be the 4th back?
I mean, I think that Amar and Izzy would have to do something very spectacular. I mean, I'm talking very spectacular in multiple games to surpass Chris Brooks. And that's where I kind of was, again, more just the running back battle as to the hierarchy of the 1, 2, 3. And we can throw in Lloyd if that gets to that point. But that to me was most it's got to be Chris Brooks, right? I mean, the way Matt LaFleur praises him in the press conferences and says that it's not just him as a running back. He's really great at pass protection. You can catch the ball out of the backfield. He seems like he put him in really key situations and very key games. So to me, Izzy and Amar would have to absolutely just have some crazy performance to, I think, shake up that depth chart.
No block, no rock.
I think it's
the last 2 columns right there. 67 pass blocking, 63 run blocking. They ask him to do everything. He's the one that'll lead for Josh Jacobs. He's the one that's going to pick up that stunt, D tackle, whatever. He's willing, right? He's willing and able to. That's key.
Yeah. And if you want to get Josh Jacobs to spell out of there, right? Get him a breather. You can put Chris Brooks in as a sidecar left, and then motion Jaden Reed or Savion, whoever it is, into the backfield. Let Chris Brooks lead as that H-back, and you're off and running.
And still the threat of potentially him running it, hand it off, read option to him, and then maybe we pitch to Jaden Reed, whatever. Matt could get crazy.
Coach Lynn says here, Brooks can sift block it also. Hey, if you want to run split zone, split
He
flow.
can block.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, when we signed him, Matt LaFleur was like, this guy can do it all. He can run the rock. We've seen that with his yards per carry, right? Coming onto the Packers roster. And then he said he can pass pro and he can catch ball a backfield. And I'm going, this is a practice squad guy, Matt. Come on, you're not fooling anybody. Lo and behold, he had significant snaps last year, man. So, all right. Who's up next, Jake? It looks like he had 199 snaps last year. So yeah, almost.
It was more than I thought. Yeah.
Definitely.
I actually saw that Coach highlighted this. My other battle that I'm going to be watching very intently is the Fitzpatrick versus Sims, that battle. And the whole scenario, is there even going to be a third when we try to hit that 53-man roster? I would argue that I really fell in love with Ben Sims. Really like the way that I think that he doesn't get enough credit for being more of like an agile kind of decent RAS, if I'm not mistaken. Same with Mr. Fitzpatrick. Bigger guys than I think they get credit for. And both of them, I'd argue down the stretch, were pretty, not necessarily productive, but trustworthy. We know what we had in Tucker Kraft. I mean, the guy is just an absolute stud. I don't know if we know exactly what we have in Musgrave, but I have still a lot of hopes for him and his ceiling raising quite a bit. And it would just be interesting to know who that solidified third stringer is and what his role is on this team. And I really want to see how Fitzpatrick and Sims ballot it out. What do you think, Emilio?
Man, tight end's going to be tough because I think Ben Sims has been stepping his game up, but they just love John Fitzpatrick. I'd like to see Luke out there to throw a couple reps, get his legs loose. I think they're going to try to ease off Tucker, and we just need to see what else is there. Messiah, is he going to be just a big blocker? That's cool, but we need to know what he is, and I think that we'll be able to get that, but I want to see, 12 personnel, 21. I want to see Matt kind of working through it, not going too crazy, even if we're just running ISOs or, off tackle, whatever we're doing. But I want to see everybody out there. Let's see what they can kind of do. And I think I would go with Ben Sims currently.
Yeah, and I think from a personal standpoint, I like Ben Sims more than Fitzpatrick, but like what Jacob was saying, I want to say it was a playoff game. They deactivated Sims and they activated Fitzpatrick. And I was like, whoa, I missed something here. So maybe it was just the matchup for that game. And the thing that pops off the screen here is his 60.7 run block, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember showing a play, I believe it was against the 49ers, it might have been, where it was a goal line situation and they put him in the wing and he smacked a linebacker right in the damn mouth. It was like, oh, okay, that's what Fitzpatrick does. So maybe he is that guy, can play a little wing if you want to go into like a 13 set or something and really go heavy. You never know. We may press into that a little bit as well. So, and the other thing too, Jacob, Emilio kind of hit on it. I want to get your take on this and we'll move on to your next one. Musgrave, if you were the head coach, how much would you play him tomorrow?
Oh, if with the weather, the way we think it may be, minimal snaps. Very minimal. I'd maybe do like 5 snaps for him just to get him out there, get him into kind of not football necessarily speed, but just shake off some of the dust. I wouldn't want to force it though with him.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's going to be the Fitzpatrick, Sims, Lumpkin, Swinton, show tomorrow, I believe. So we'll see though. I want to see Musgrave kind of create a little momentum going into the season, but at the same time, if he were to go out there in the rain and him, pull a muscle or something and be questionable for week one, that would really frustrate the heck out of me. So, all right, next position, Jacob, what we got, man?
Yeah, so like I said, I've got a few of them, and I'm trying to think of what's the most. All right, the edge/D end room, and I think the two that are really on the bubble would be Kingsley Alexander and Kingsley Alexander. I feel like if he plays really, really well, and if Kingsley, for whatever reason, just doesn't seem like he's showing out, that I just feel like there could be some sort of maybe kind of a surprise. I don't know about Aaron Mosby. I don't know if he'd overtake him, but I just think that between Mosby and Igbare and Kingsley Alexander, I just think one of those, I just think there might be a surprise in the room. And I always think that like every year we think we got it nailed. And then there's probably 2 or 3 surprises where we're just like, oh, okay. Like they completely did against what consensus was. I've been seeing a lot of people talk that Kingsley Alexander's been flashing at camp. I even know that I think Tim's wife brought it up to him and said, like, who's that? And he's like, oh, it's Kingsley Alexander kind of thing. And I have seen some other beat reporters kind of mentioning that he's been flashing as well. I haven't heard anything from Kingsley Alexander. Have you guys?
Not much, no. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I was watching the McDuffie tape earlier, I watched something like, I don't know, 60 or 70 plays a couple times. And he was really flashing on the screen. Like there was a couple times where you just seen him mauling guys in the run game, not necessarily the ball carrier, but just, I mean, I'm talking about creating havoc against the run. Now you look at the PFF grade here, obviously his run defense 66.6, not like over the moon, but it was definitely what he did the best last year, which maybe, Jacob, that's why we're a little more down on him than the Packers coaching staff is because we, our raw eye probably didn't catch that as often until you really get in and watch the box cam a little bit more. But I mean, he had 538 snaps last year. They love that dude. I want to see what I would like to see here. If you look at Brenton Cox Jr., right, he only had 187 snaps. I want to see him and Enigbare flip. That's me personally. I want to see what we truly have in Brenton Cox Jr. And it's crazy, too, because his pass rush grade is only a 66.4. However, he led the team in pressure percentage. Gary was right behind him in pressure percentage. He had far more pressures than Brenton Cox Jr., but the pressure rate was slightly higher for Brenton Cox Jr., and both of them hovering around a 66 pass rush grade, which cracks me up. It does. I ain't gonna lie. So I would like to see those two numbers flip personally. Deslin Alexander, when Tim's shown the tape or the footage from camp practice, it does look like he's kind of flashing a little bit, right? In some of the drills that you see, like, hey, who is that dude right there? So I don't know. How do you feel about it, Amelia? And Aaron Mosby's the one that, to me, is starting to feel like I don't see him making this roster this year because he got some significant play time last year. I mean, 150 reps. You're talking about Aaron Mosby getting almost as many snaps as Brenton Cox Jr. Me don't like you that, Jan. Me don't like you that at all.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. I was looking. Do you have the how many did we go in with Edge? 6, right? On the roster, I think.
I'll pull it up. Keep talking.
Because I think, like you've been saying, Aaron Mosby is on the bubble. I like Alexander. I think he's going to be more of a practice squad kind of guy. Maybe you bring Aaron Mosby and Alexander back. I think it's got to be Rashawn Brenton, Kingsley, Elvian, Oliver, and Sorrell. I'm excited to see what Sorrell can do out there.
Oh yeah.
I really am. I think that's going to be one key to this game. I want to see him get upfield. I want to see him just, get his – I remember watching his tape. His hands are really good. He has really good hands. Right. He's able to extend. He's able to get separation. So I want to kind of see that get to work. But they're going to get reps to all these guys. I would think that Sorrell has a good shot, and that's the toss-up between Alexander and Mosby.
That number was 6, Amelia. We broke camp with 6. And shout out to Clint for the super chat here. Says PTA is number 1. Thank you so much, Clint. We appreciate you, man, being generous in here. And Johnny Storm said, yo, what's up from Australia? This is my first time watching the NFL, so I'm looking for a team to be a fan of. Buddy, you are in the right place, let me tell you. Give the Packers a shot. And I want to challenge you to do something tonight. Go to YouTube tonight and just type in Packers Legacy, all right? And it's going to take you to the Packers YouTube channel, all right? And there's going to be a series of like 6 or 7 episodes, I believe it is. Start with the very first one, okay? Watch that very first episode, and you're going to hear about the historical aspect of the Packers and just how they were formed, the only publicly owned franchise in all of sports, not just the NFL. So it's kind of owned by the fans type deal. And then try to find a documentary on Lambeau Field and learn about the weather in Green Bay and how often you get the snow games. We play outside while everybody else's pansy asses are building domes and everything. We're still playing big boy football up there. So appreciate you jumping in here from Australia, man. We really appreciate it. And again, Clint, thank you for that super chat. That's right. All right. Anything else on that, Jacob? And I echo what Emilio just said, man. Baron Sorrell, give me 20 snaps tomorrow at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So who would your 6 be if you had to pick right now? So, obviously Gary Cox, Vanessa, Sorrell. You'd have to probably say Kingsley.
2 are out are Mosby and Alexander would be me.
Yeah. Because it's going to come down to Colin Oliver whether or not he's healthy for week 1, right? I think there's a chance he goes on PUP, and we always talk about this, that it kind of shapes that initial roster. So I would go Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Brenton Cox Jr., Kingsley Enigbare, right? He'll drop that down for me. He says Kingsley's out. Chris M. Wow, okay. Kingsley Enigbare, drop that comment. There you go. Baron Sorrell would be 5. So if Colin Oliver's healthy, obviously he would be 6. After that, I honestly think Aaron Mosby would get the nod over Alexander. I could be wrong. I think they probably feel like they could put Alexander on the practice squad and keep them both. And really, that's what it comes down to, guys. We're talking about a 53-man roster, and it comes down to what would it be, a 69-man roster is really what it is. So,
and then 70 with the international, right? So we got the one extra.
And I think that's going to go to the kicker most likely, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is do we remember the age limit on the practice squad? Because Deslin was 27.1. I want to say it's 28. Or no, you have the veterans now after they updated it, right? Okay.
Yeah, I want to say there's 10 regular practice squad spots. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I may have this completely screwed up. I think there's 10 regular practice squad spots, and then you can have 6 veterans. I think that's the way I understood it. It might be flipped though.
I think I remember that. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's what it really comes down to is you're trying to keep as many of these guys as you possibly can. And in some cases, you may look up and go, he's the better player, and he'll probably be active more. But the initial 53, we want to keep them both. Probably want to have this guy on the roster just to make sure we keep